Whatever the time is on your end, whatever this is catching you live from, welcome to another beautiful episode of the Tubonge Show, and of course right here on the media of the 21st century. Every Wednesday we get to do this, talking about everything that is happening in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in your country. Of course, every news and updates as we get to analyze everything. My name is Joby, the captain of today. Shout out to Kamlesh, quick recovery, and we hope to see you of course very soon in the studio. But of course I'm joined by the one and only Shmani and Iwaton in the building. How you guys doing?
Fine, thank you.
Glamorous.
You look nice, Iwaton.
Thank you.
I was looking at you doing your show and I like the hair. You should be doing more of that is salsa.
Yes.
Spanish on your braids.
Yeah,
they really look good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you look nice.
Thank you so much. Shout out to our
shout out to them.
Black and Queen.
TMI. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. But how are you doing, Shmani?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Okay, karibuni sana to the Tubonge Show. I'm also doing great, can't complain. Such a cold weather today. Literally, as you can see, me, I'm covered. I tried to have my hair popping, but no, the cold is not allowing me. It's really
So,
super
yeah,
cold. Yeah, but karibuni sana to another episode of Tubonge. Of course, let us know where you're listening to us from on the radio, and you can pin your comments on the show page if you're listening on the radio. That's the good part. And of course, if you are on YouTube, karibu sana, hit that like button, subscribe if it is your first time. Today we shall be talking about literally interesting conversations. I'd say it's some pending videos from yesterday's show, the reaction time, and I just think that it's something that I've seen it's on the rise and it needs to be discussed. Earlier today I was having a discussion with a few of people talking about the rate at which right now people are no longer scared to state their status about HIV, and I think there's nothing wrong about it, but it's crazy. We've been talking about, especially if you look at this generation, people are no longer scared to talk about even intimate situations. Like people want to talk about how many body counts they have, how they're scamming men through using their bodies, or how they're scamming women using their bodies. Like, it's nice to see that we really have that openness, open mind. You know, you can talk out loud about situations because some are really educated. So many people can learn something out of it. I'm not gonna deny that people will learn something out of the videos or the, you know, stories shared literally of your experiences, and someone is gonna probably relate and take a lesson from that. But at the same time, I feel like it's just imekuwa too much, you know, because personally I think I've been bumping into videos of TikTok lately of women, you know, talking about how showcasing, actually ukiangalia page ya mtu ni all about ARVs, vile wanameza ARVs, encouraging their fellow HIV infected patients to take their ARVs, but also which according to reports of so many patients, and I think pia early this year or last year kulikuwa na pia reports of ARVs they have shortened. So that there was a time, actually believe, not sure of when, early this year or last year, still we had some new VSCCINE that was introduced to help people cure quick from HIV. You know, it's crazy. But before we get into that, the curing and everything, I have a couple of videos I want to share. I don't know if you've seen the matters of Kenyan women who are coming back being deported because of HIV and AIDS. And this is not because they went with it. We need to understand that fact, number one, before anyone says, oh, alitoka huku nayo, ameenda. No, because there's literally kuna kwanga na clinic, sijui unaendanga kufanyiwa test before you travel, right?
True.
So of course unaangaliwa if you seek anything really, and which can make you literally maybe prevent you from even going outside, because like your condition is not favorable for this particular place. So you can't lie to us that most of these women went outside the country when they were already infected. We're talking about 200 plus women, which is so crazy. it is so crazy. So it's a question which, and something that is very alarming, and sadly we're talking to a system that has already failed to do what is right from the beginning. When women and men have been crying for help in countries like the UAE, to be specific, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Dubai. I'm not sure of Dubai, but Saudi Arabia and Qatar. We've seen women crying for help, and we had some of the officials saying that it is us taking our backward behaviors and African mentality in these spaces. That's why we're treated the way we are treated, which is crazy. And you ask yourself, because these are the same people when you're traveling who are under the same government, because they're agents, they tell you your human rights are followed. I don't know if I'm using the right terms, but your human rights are clearly followed. You're not going to face any violations. You're not going to face any sort of racism. Your rights are protected. Even if you go out, like, utakuwa followed. I was one of the victims, literally. They tried to convince me. But immediately, I think after a few weeks, one of the people I knew we had grown up with on the same hood, a lady, Amededi, out of unknown circumstances, and you're like, you're the same people telling us, and you can't follow up the death. Right. That is the crazy part. Once the body mefika hapa, that's the way the case is closed. You can't follow up, and of course, not so many families have the case or the money to follow, even acquire lawyers. So it's the same even applying to this 200 women. It's the question of what, of course, we've discussed of what they do there. Tumeona wengine they get shitted on. It's just some crazy works. You're sleeping with animals. You have to be. It's crazy. You're enslaved. Sometimes you're not given food. You're not allowed to use your phone. There's another video that has been going viral of two sisters. Tulikuwa tuna kemea mbocho wao juu kutumia TikTok. You're not supposed to be using TikTok, and these are children. So you can imagine this racism again.
From kids.
It starts from childhood. So you know how to treat literally black people from their young age. So it's crazy because these 200 women, none of them are going to get help. But let me share this, and then we also get to share, of course, videos of how women are comfortably open, talking about how they've been spreading HIV and AIDS, and how they're comfortable talking about they have it. It's a crazy world we're living in time.
Information just come to me right now that most people here in Qatar are walking around with HIV, and I want you guys to be.
Let me share with the people on the network my app.
Very careful out there, because this thing, they say this thing is happening. Some of them will go for vacation and they'll stay along there, and they will come back here, not get tests. And some people, among of them, they know, and they just want to spread it around. Please, guys, be careful out there. Be very careful. I don't know who these people are. I don't know about this news.
So let me just.
After Alfred kutoa kwenda Kenya na kusema, it's fun to speak up.
Let me see. I don't know if I queued it. I think I assumed I queued it, but let me see. Okay, here it is.
Guys, unaona direct yenye kuna ukimwi Qatar, venye Wakenya wanadipotiwa juu kushika AIDS.
So you see the misinformation that is being given. There's no clear details, number one, of Wakenya wakona. No, they never left with it. You need to understand traveling protocols, you guys. And this is what we were talking about yesterday. It's sad because most of the people, mtu ajai travel sasa hizi jua, and it's so easy for you to spread misinformation. Understand, ukitravel lazima utapimwa. That's why yellow fever card is very much important. Why? Because you can't, kuna mali utaenda, whether itakupiganisha utashikwa na malaria or something else, and you can't stand it literally. They utapimwa different types of diseases, especially if you're traveling probably by air, and if you're going to work, especially if you're going to work somewhere. There's tests being done of every disease. So stop spreading misinformation that Kenyan girls wanarudishwa kwa sababu imetoka wapi. You need to go deeper into details.
Mpaka inaogopesha. Guys, be careful. Hata hapa ni hiko sana. Mimi najua kesi za mademu wawili watatu wenye pia walibishwa home jii Kaswende, na most of the time watu ambao wanatandai Kaswende na watu ambao wanapenda kulala na tourist. Kama ni demu wana kwenda kwa club kutega, alafu kisha wana tourist anakuambia atakupatia 500 real ama dirham, kisha utumie condom. Then after hapo unaenda na mpoa wako, na mpoa wako pia kuna mpoa wake nje.
You see, he's literally confusing the whole story. I wish I could
Yeah.
find the original video. I tried to find it. There was a guy who was literally breaking it all the way down.
Right.
Of how we have 200 women, Kenyan women, who are being deported back to Kenya because they have HIV and AIDS. Again, this is why we need to go back to, again, questioning the job that we literally apply for, these people apply for. Are they even legit? Like we've seen, it's been a big scam from the word go. These agents are working literally with the government. Most of these agents are covered. It's just recently we saw the woman who has been scamming people money. Tulimwona juzi, remember the woman who has been scamming people money in the name of ndawapeleka hii country, kuna hii kazi ya ulori, kuna hii kazi. Then there's nothing. And because they have collected enough funds to hire a lawyer, and they can go, the lawyer can tap into 1, 2, 3 official in the office, Nivyo, go back to the business. Because people are desperate. That is again the crazy part we live in, and the crazy reality we live in. People are so desperate to the point of doing anything to get a job.
That's so true.
And then it also makes me go back and question something. It's sad that our desperation can literally also show us how capable we really are. You've seen people saving 500 million
Look at
Kenyan
that.
shillings to pay to go to an outside country. You're talking about passports. You're 500 million Kenyan shillings to start a business.
Right?
If you can gather
It's a
all that
business
amount of
already.
money
Yeah, lots of businesses
to
actually.
pay to go to work outside the country, and this is a scam. What if you made it a reality here? Literally.
Can't you
Oh
just
my gosh, I
invest
know.
it?
People sell land. Are you serious?
You know, it's so
Yeah.
crazy, but this is the reality of what is happening. Again, we need these agents. Personally, I feel if we really had a working system, all these agents should be actually, all these offices zote zinafaa kuwa shut down. You know, and if it's really, because it's not like back then, being honest, we didn't have working agents. We had watu walikuwa wanakupatia actually kazi, unaenda majuu. I believe probably if you look at the older millennials, there are people who can confess they have worked with really good agents who have put them on a spot, and they have been, you know,
That's
working
true.
good, and they have been following
Yeah.
up. But imekuja ikakuwa a very big growing up now scam of a business, to the point now people are taking advantage of the desperation of people, because it's desperacy that is literally operating. People are desperate, and then there's the notion of if you go outside, of course you're gonna be paid well, which is another scam. Because we go back to the question of, are these jobs people applying even real? If I'm applying to go work as a house help, why is this all of a sudden now I'm being enslaved? Why can't I eat? There's supposed to be rules and laws of when I get there. How am I supposed to be living with these people? Actually, this is supposed to be humanity. But again, understand the race we're really talking about. But if we really had a working system, these agents should be all dissolved to really quite the real business, who follow up actually how your clients or people who left the country are they being treated. And if not comfortable, come back.
But you know, Joby, it's sad because the agents are even run by people in government.
That's
They're
what I'm
the ones
saying.
who own these companies, literally.
Because the story of that lady.
Yeah,
what
like
happened?
how was she in
honestly.
jail for one night,
Few
and
days.
then the next morning she's out, and there is evidence umeiba millions and millions umeacha watu huko. Make it make sense. If she's not actually protected by people who are powerful, she was just a face.
And she continued with the business.
Exactly.
Like nothing
She
ever
did.
happened.
And the next day she was saying the same thing on TikTok. Kujeni bado kuna
Yes.
majob huko hivyo,
You're
whatever,
like, what
whatever.
is really happening, honestly?
And this is why you see Kenyans getting mad, because again, there's a scam going on all around. You know, even now within the people, it's crazy because I keep on saying corruption has grown and broadened to the
Okay.
people. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy for you to now go up. I can personally, let me speak for myself.
Okay.
I can corrupt someone. I can literally just bribe someone to do my
Right.
do my way. I've seen it work, and it works. It's what has been working literally for the longest time, because the system Elisha set up a system of, if you can't pave your way, it's so hard for you to get 1, 2, 3 things done.
Yeah.
You need to have, and it's like that because there's lack of equality again. No, people don't have jobs. If me, I'm someone probably earning 60,000 na kuna mtu ana earn like maybe mwenye amesema sijui 10,000
Yeah.
10,000 a year. What do you mean?
Imagine that.
What do you mean?
Like, what is happening?
I don't know kama amesema ukweli,
Yeah.
but 10,000 a year, bro. 10,000 a year. How are you living?
Doesn't
a
make
year.
sense, honestly.
Shillings.
There's a comment there. Yeah, like you're listening.
Yeah, I was
huh?
listening to your
Yeah.
show. I'm like, 10,000. Are you crazy? A year? What are you doing for a living? And how are you living?
That's questionable. Yeah? 10,000? No.
So it's just so crazy. There is system failure, there is corruption.
And just to add on the corruption part, yesterday in the morning when we were talking about corruption, you remember on the Vibe show,
Right.
and we were saying how it has been, you're taught even at a younger age, even with the smallest things. Ukifanya hii,
Oh, right.
yani you grow up just
Be given a candy.
a candy, something, and then you grow up, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And even sometimes you do stuff you don't know even if it's corruption.
Literally,
Unajua?
you're very innocent.
You're very innocent. You're like, ikiateka nianze nimpe each one.
Right.
Ndio aenda kufanyia kitu, but you know, you never, it's just like it comes in a very natural way. So it comes from small to even now the bigger things. Now you find people getting scammed and stuff like that. People finding their ways. I feel like it's a culture yenye unatrainiwa nayo from being a kid, and then by the time you grow up you find it's a normal thing. Everything you do is hata sangine you really intentionally.
Yes.
You don't that was corruption, but if you look at it deeply, it is actually corruption.
That is so true.
It is so crazy. But going back to the case of HIV and of course the women being affected, and also looking at the mindset of our women, because it's a discussion now on the table. Like we know, yes, we didn't have AIDS, being honest. Yes, it was a disease forced upon Africans through injections and all that. If you don't know the history, go dig the history. It's on the internet. It's very widely known literally how this landed here. But it's also sad because we know the race that comes with this majority, right? And especially looking at countries like South Africa, which we have white people who have lots of freedom there. And then again, I'm going back to the African mentality. Because of poverty, desperation, of wanting to live a good life, you know, have a good house, live in a house of electricity. You know, that's still a dream literally to so many people. You know, that's crazy.
Yes.
Living in a house with electricity, that is still a dream to people here in Africa. This is crazy.
It's sad.
It's crazy. It's just like the other day on Sunday, like I said, on Sunday I was along Quarry within the slum itself, and what I noticed is the comfortability of Ghorofa za Mabati.
Okay. I've seen those before.
I've seen them, but it was rare. I think personally growing up, they were kind of rare. You know, ni rare, like zilikuwa but zikukuwa more. But it's the fact is now that comfortability.
What's your take on that?
You know,
I understand, but it's so unfair.
Unsafe.
Yeah,
Quite
especially
unsafe.
moto. If you think about just fire.
Na hata tu mabati ni kinasonga.
Facts.
Exactly.
Unajua and then how unapandaje ukiwa comfortable, anything can make it can shake.
Exactly.
Ukipanda chini. Unajua.
You know?
So far security is not good. For real. Unajua.
No, it was shocking to me.
Nowadays they're using containers.
Yeah.
Because
Which are
containers are
amazing.
strong.
But also wooden houses are
But now
a
that
thing.
is expensive.
Wooden houses are actually better.
expensive for rent.
Wooden like apartments.
Wooden apartments.
Like story buildings.
Yeah, but you know, if it is like the ones kuna zenye ziko comfortable,
Like the ones in the States.
exactly.
I can say, is it 50%? I'm not sure a case of the statistic. Maybe a lot of the houses are literally built on wood. Yeah.
And even environment wise, unajua haina joto, haina baridi. It's calm.
That's why I feel like most of them is protect them from the hurricanes. Yeah. Most times.
Yeah, but sasa unajua za wooden za huku ni za kusafa.
Utashika tu moto.
Ni zile za wewe unasafa.
Utashika
Like
moto.
literally. Unless upate wooden sasa kwa Eden Gems.
Wood.
You know, the good wood zimefungwa na manyata and stuff like that. Now those are, but most then unaona wooden like
Okay.
most of them is because they can't actually manage or get this. So it comes from a perspective of poverty.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see? Exactly.
Exactly.
it's a
So you
problem.
find because of the poverty mindset, women, and we've seen that some of them are proud, you know, having white daddies. Let me say that, you know, like having white daddies, because kunadi video I bumped into of a Nigerian woman who was saying it has even affected men now. It's not even women, because we have men due to poverty, lack of jobs.
Okay.
You know, they're also like looking now for white mamas, you know, white sugar mamas. And this is why you see we have especially Nigerian men, young Nigerian men right now, that's a business like they've gotten into. They are on this Tinder, whatever apps, connecting with white women, you know, they communicate, wanapata passport, visa, either they travel or he travels, so it's always the vice versa. And if you look at where they're coming from, their background, ni poverty, you know. Shout to is this Nigerian really there and ki shout like microphone hivi sija kiambia madem nini, like encouraging them to have better relationships with men, or a man who can provide for you and all that. So she was the one talking about, it's sad if women can be called gold diggers. What can we call men of today's generation? Because pia wao, due to the same lack of chances in the society, they also end up now becoming what they've been telling us. You know, you're also chasing women with money to like, you know, just get a life or live a good life. So it's crazy, because I want to share a story of one of the women. This is actually mama too, like mama age yake, I'd say, you know, not old, no young. I'd say probably watoto wawili, understanding how women have kept themselves in Africa. And I say, my babas have infected me with HIV and dumped me. These are mama. So if you look at most of the women also, why they end up, now we're talking about women with children, because there's young ladies when you're not babas, but kuna mama when you probably got married to someone, the marriage failed, the husband became unsupportive. So many cases are there, you know. We don't have child support, you know. We had feeder, which was supposed to be helping mothers, you know, kutafuta the dads and be present, help financially with the children's life. There's a time it was working, but not anymore. I barely hear people talk about, women talk about feeder anymore. So in that situation, you're a woman who was of course jobless. This is why it's so heavy and important for women to have their own money, like have your own job and money, because if this man leaves, you won't out of desperation go sleeping with men, trying to make an income to feed your kids, pay bills, sustain yourself, you know, and all that. Utakuwa ukona something for yourself. So even if a man comes as a bonus, like that is just a bonus for you. You already had it. So I'm gonna share this very quickly, which is crazy, because again, they're not even scared to talk about it. That's again the crazy part. Don't forget.
I met this guy at Alingam. Half a month later, I told him sisikii vizuri, kwenda hospitali, utajipima, but kenye ilikuja, it was positive. Kaniambia nataka namba ya daktari. He was a judge.
He was, still is a judge.
He's still a judge.
A known judge.
Yeah. So she was infected with HIV and AIDS by a judge, a known judge in Kenya. So it goes back also to this political class. I don't want to speak much about it, but kuna vitu mingi atujui. You know, that's all I'm gonna leave it at. Kuna vitu mingi atujui, and of course kuna watu wengi they can't come confess, because if you do, wewe yako kuisha na familia yako, so you have to just keep quiet about it. But I want to go to the comments of the first video and shared of wase venye wanasema. Kuna mtu anasema wapigwe picha wakiwa JKIA tuwajue, because the moment they land here and understand the bitterness, most of these women, again, if only they can come and confess why this happened, you know, how it happened, you know, because if you went to work as a house girl, how did you end up being with HIV and AIDS? And we know before you left the nation, you are completely healthy. So what really happened to you? What is really happening there? There should be confessions happening, and our government needs to be called out for not putting action, because if this was Arabic women facing the same here, trust me, Kenya would be on the all mainstream medias. A good example I love going and picking up every time, because it has happened in my time, is the Pakistan journalist who was killed. The Pakistan journalist sparked literally like controversials worldwide. Kenya ilikuwa kila mahali being called out to give out answers of what happened to this journalist. Pakistan. But you as a Kenyan journalist, try, kama wesi la rimado, like, you know, exactly, washa target, like, you try do that in their own country. Nobody's gonna follow up, not even your own government. So it's so crazy. I wish we had bolder because that is something I also call out a couple of times. Even racism, kuna watu wengi watakangi kuongelea racism wameface huko nje, wana come put on the narrative of I was in the States, you know, I just made this couple dollars, I bought a chain, so what? What is the culture there? You know, tell us, like, what is different that you experienced there? Is there racism? Talk about it. People don't talk about it. They love beautifying what is not known, and this is why you see Africans when wakienda injured, they're caught with the culture shock of racism because you're like, that exists, you know. Because I remember for us when it affected us in Kitchen the first time, we were like already known, like okay, we understand what we're dealing with here, right here. Like kuna watu wengi wajui how to handle that. Kuna mtu coming from a very vulnerable, peaceful, kind home, mwenye ajui like yo to attack back, like I'm supposed to talk back, so you're left literally being easy to be preyed on. And then someone else also says kuna mtu anasema let me see, I'm trying to find meaning comments. Someone says especially those working in Qatar Airways. Okay, so meaning also the ladies working on the airways. So that could be exactly what he said, probably because of sleeping with. Okay, I understand now that where could be coming from. Probably if you're working on the airways, of course you meet a lot of so if you go giving up yourself and then siku kuna tests, health tests, like it says there's always the monthly whatever, you need to go get tested, they check whatever your weight and all that, and being of course an air hostess, you need to be, there's a certain body, there's just a certain type of diet you're supposed to be having and all that. So probably that could be also one of the cases. Trying to understand it probably from that perspective. If you're working from the airways, then even though vitu unafanya, then that is one jaribia kazi na maisha yako.
And you know, these people stay there like the whole time. They're always just on road. So sometimes they just sleep like one night in a city
different hotel,
and different hotel. Probably amepata mtu hapo kwa basi or whatever at the port,
or even at the
hotel. And that's how they do it. It is sad because even if we say job yeti wakuje waonyeshe, there's still a lot of people who still have it. You know? So at the end of the day too, me I feel like kindly, if you're going to be having sex, what was your
use protection.
There's a video, a very crazy video. I don't know if Kamle shared that. No, the ones I shared are these ones. I think we had talked about some of the videos you're sharing. There's a reel that Kamle sent me yesterday, and it's the audacity of this white woman telling people that protection is bad, and how if you use like condoms in a reduce something, it has like, let me play the video. It is scary but doesn't make so much sense.
Condoms, and you think it's safe. What if it's slowly poisoning your body? A 2014 Danish study found over 100 different toxic ingredients in condoms, hormone disruptors, carcinogens.
And you know, these are the things, because on the comment section ukiangalia mtu anasema using condom is bad, birth control is bad, abortion is bad, getting pregnant is bad, everything is bad. What can we live for once, you know? I feel like also a lot of people come here to just protect, to prevent, or just propagate rumors to people, and it's an agenda, because now if you're not using condoms, how best are you protecting yourself?
Exactly.
Of course you're having raw sex, right?
Obviously.
And if you're having raw sex, if the person is sick, most
You're
definitely, so it's going to actually promoting the spread of diseases. And you're not even and crazy thing, people just think it's HIV. It's not only HIV, there's gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes. You don't, isn't in mbaya. You don't get to actually izina kiwa pia. Unajua, so you might escape one, but you're gonna get another. And it is just so crazy, because nowadays people just look at you, hey, she's beautiful, she looks nice.
Well, not to defend what she's saying, but I've had, not seen, but had, and this is not based also on research, so don't get me wrong, but I've heard that for women, the oil coming from the condom, somehow, it's not good. It's not good. Most of it imekuja na cervical cancer type of shit. You know, like sort of different, so different stories. I've heard of cervical cancers. I've heard of it can cause infertility. I'm not sure because of this oil specifically, because condoms do have that oil. So for women, I'm not sure about the men, but I've heard about the women. So
because there is
not
also
to disagree, to support what she's saying, but
there's also the other perspective where they say, if, like, let's say for example, the use of this, what's the name of the oils that people use when having sex? I don't know.
lubrication.
This, some of them might be from bad companies, something like that.
Why do people
But
use lubrication?
some also say there are some that are made naturally. You know, some people say that, right? So if it is the same oil that they are being used, why is it they're saying the same oil is the one that affects women? For me, that's why I think it's just a lot of propaganda for me when it comes to protect yourself. If they want to say it is not good,
Just abstain till marriage.
Na hata ukiwa umeolewa na huyo mtu wako mtu wako anaweza toka nje. Unajua, so you just have to be very careful. Exactly.
Every month.
Yeah, you just have to be, because it comes from you. Like lazima ujichunge kwanza. Usipojichunga, hakuna mwenye atakuchunga.
That is fine.
Unajua, because mtu atakuja kudanganya SG, and women are even confessing siji nikienda ro ananipea hii. And you know very well you go. The women, you remember the video I was hearing in the morning where saying siji wame-inject watu rongai, ruaka, siji nini. And this,
the same videos I was to share yesterday, funny thing on my show. So you shared them.
Yeah, we shared like a few of them. And nako like anasema eti sijui eti wengine wana insist.
Yes.
How does somebody tell you let's not have raw sex and you're insisting?
I know.
You insist. Eti insist sana. So you know, it's also a problem of people. Also, you just have to care start from you. Aina mtu mwingine. It starts from within. Nobody will care for you as much as you can care for yourself.
Thank you.
But if you don't want to care for yourself, utapatana na people who are evil. And by then those who are spreading these diseases knowingly, there's supposed to be a law, a very strict law. Yenye inafaa ikuwe, ukipata mtu anakufanya hivi, you can take them to court, or you can do something and let them get hata kani murder, because what is that? Is somebody's gonna carry it for the rest of their life, and then maisha yake ina stop. Some people go through stigmatization, some people depression, some people die.
And that's why you have that conversation, the fact that I feel like Kenya doesn't have strict laws. Like very strict laws that you know there are really dire consequences if you do this. In regards to, you know, like Dubai or these other Arabian nations, there's some strict laws, you know, you can't be acting like that in some countries, honestly.
Yeah.
You know? But also, we talked about FIDA. What happened to it? Honestly. You can't be doing like such moves, or basically pulling such moves. In the United States of America, child support, they will follow you.
I know.
To the caves. Literally.
They will.
You know?
I think FIDA was working time near Kibaki a lot. It was really active at that time. So I don't know what really happened to it. It's
nowadays you pay
crazy.
even the lawyers. It's crazy. Before akuje na ni free, anakwambia nitumie za, they use another direct. Unaona venye mapolisi ambao nifuelie gari. So they have their own thing, because constitutionally afai kukuwa na kucharge. But they might take their time. If it's an emergency, watu wanaweza lala ndani for days and days. Anakuja time yenye maybe when there are also like people from his office going to check.
Right.
Did he do or did he appear? Some of them don't appear even in court sessions.
Like ever.
Yeah. And they are given laws, anakuja anakwambia, I'm your lawyer from FIDA. It's supposed to be free, but why is it that you're not even putting pressure? You're not if you're interested in this case. So most of the people tend to avoid FIDA. They just say, let me get a lawyer, because they're not functioning as much. They're not.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share this video as the last one, and then we get into a different topic. There's news and updates that I saw earlier of a 4th-grade child who was being raped by the dad till they died. Literally, the child died literally, and has been raped to death by the father. That is a 4th-grade child. And then I'm gonna share a video of a woman confessing about rape here, and then I think there's a video you've seen circulating online of a Garissa woman who nearly escaped rape. She was being dragged.
Nearly. So she did?
She escaped rape.
Okay.
Like alikuwa almost being raped. And the crazy part, she was making noise. You're like, where are the people? Where are the neighbors? You know, like to the point it gets to that point, people coming to your rescue, to be too late in that situation. So I'm gonna talk about that, but let me share this video and then continue.
How much? How much, bro?
Here is the secret, Kemunto. We are 6 groups of friends, and we are very beautiful and nice-bodied. Lakini Kemunto, out of 6 is only one who is not sick. We all have that thing. na we do it to men who don't care using CD. Na sahi ile base ya Lumumba, Kasa, Thome, Kilimani, Ruaka, Rongai, Kiambu Road, hizi places zote tumegawa juu sasa kama hawataki tunawapea hivyo with a lot of money. Unapata unalipwa 40k to 70k raw. Ambia tu wasee wache kwenda raw na kuforce things.
Hatunalipwa how much raw?
40k to 70k. Next, Kem, I am HIV positive. Now, as I am typing this, I have infected 16 guys from Ruaka. And I tried telling them use CD, they refused, saying I am too beautiful. 5 married, the rest me bachelors. Hide ID.
Jesus.
Dear, I have a target. Let me talk personally. So far, so good. You have reached
not
that
had the
one.
married part, not had when you're married. That's so crazy. So you're going, spreading back again the AIDS in your family, you know, to your wife. That's so insane. It's so insane. And then the level of just I don't care is just way too high. Like, what happened to you just being, why? Like, they're, what? Men are willing to just go raw. They don't care. I don't know what generation we're living in. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's just shocking.
Rongai, you know, so I'm not shocked personally about even the cases, the places mentioned.
No,
Last year, we had reports. I think we had reports given out last year of the rise of HIV in Kenya, and it has gone high. Yeah, it has gone super high. In Rongai was one of the leading counties. We had Mombasa, because Mombasa is a tourist county. Yeah.
The beach. So bad.
It's crazy. Nairobi, I can't remember Nairobi ilikuwa ngapi, but you gotta be careful out there. You know, I don't understand how you just living proud with that, and you're comfortable also just spreading this to other people. What are you have the audacity of saying no? You know, it's not just. I understand the desperation of money, but you should have, I don't know, critical thinking again should apply. Say no. Like, why are you comfortable with this person sleeping with you and them taking a disease from you? Something is wrong with you. That is a psychopathic type of thinking.
And that's
like you have zero humanity in you left. You're willing to take out with you as many as you can, which is crazy. Because most of them people discover, like you say, they end up being bitter. And then the bitterness now is what makes them keep on spreading, where they don't care. Like, please, should have crossed your leg, should have said, let's go get tested. No, should have taken your time, not siku ya kwanza usiku ya kwanza mshaenda na mtu on a roll. Like, why are you even sleeping with someone on a first night? Crazy. Dignity, shame needs to be brought back, I heard. But anyway, the last video of the day I'm gonna share is of this lady. I'm trying to find the article of what is happening. What was that? That was in Kisii that the information was coming from, of the grade 4 kid who has been raped to death by the father. So it's sad because most of these cases happen within relatives. I've escaped that too from a relative. Sadly, same situation she's explaining. It was a cousin of my mom, and used to be a drunk, so came back home drunk. This person is grabbing you, forcing you into something you don't want. You know, you're young, you don't know how to explain this. And then the sad part, I feel like, especially for children, and when you're young, you don't know what sex is. You don't know sex. There's no, especially in the fact there's no sex education at homes. It's hard even for you to start saying, you don't even know what sex is. What do you say? What are they doing to you? What is it called? Like, apart from kuitwa tabia mbaya, hata mtu kuitwa tabia mbaya si kila mtu anajua, because their children who are really grown up, protected mentally, before they get to be exposed to the dirty world, or the dirty world catches up with them. Their children who are just protected mentally to not get informed by some things. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense. So I'm gonna share this and then we hear what she's saying.
The first time I knew I wasn't safe, I was also 9 and I was raped by my uncle, who's my mom's cousin.
So sorry.
But like, no one believed me because I was 9, so I feel like we're in the same bracket. But the thing is, he used to rape me, and then he used to. So this was frequently, and I'm 9. So I tell my grandma, like, yo, your son your son is not doing justice to me. And she goes like, but you're the one who's seducing him. See? And
Wait,
see?
You were 9.
I was 9.
Shall get there anyways.
So like that goes on, and then one day I was just coming from school and I was like, nope, I'm not going back home because my grandma had traveled, so I'm left with him in the house for a whole week. What do you think I'm about to go through? I was like, I'm not going home. Get on a bus, I go home to our place now. My mom's not home, my dad, I find my aunt, and I'm telling my aunt, you know what, I can't stay over there. That man is just not enough. It's just, no, that's not a space where I can be. And I had to force my parents to take me to hospital. So that makes me feel like, I don't know, like the African mentality where you're the one who's seducing the person. I was just 9. I didn't know I was seducing the person, honestly. And I'm just trying to communicate how I'm feeling about this, and nobody had me. So I don't think I'll ever be safe with anyone. And I've not healed. I'm still in the place, but I don't think I'm almost at a place where I can say I've healed. If I get that person. Although he had invited me for his wedding.
Hey. Yeah. Wait. Is he married or is about to be married?
He's about to be married, but he has 2 kids.
With someone else or the same woman?
The same woman.
Does this woman know the kind of person she's getting married to?
That I'm not aware, because it went, like, it's something that I told my mom, and my mom was like, I'll tell your grandma. And my grandma knew. So I don't know if any of the, like, the siblings or the family, because even my older brothers don't know. And this is something I've told them before. I was like, whether do you know that uncle raped me? And they're like, hizo story gani unasema hizo?
Wanaenda kuificha ndani ya familia. Oh, yes. You'll embarrass the family. Yes. Oh, it's a family's name. Let's put it. Let's tukaifunge. They're evil grandmothers. I've seen grandmothers, they'll protect their children. I've seen to a point where unakuja naambia mtu hata nani wako kijana wako anafanya hivi. Mostly mimi nimeona with my family, like if for example like maybe somebody has died, right? Your pops has died. You can see like different characters from your uncle. If you go tell your grandmother, she'll protect her sons. Forgetting even your grandkids, like nyini damu yake. I've seen a lot of people coming to say that. What about even rape cases? How many people go and tell? And even like it's sad, even not even your mother atasema hapana, wewe ndio ulienda ukaseduce na uko sure babaka anafanya hivi.
What kind of a mother
it
are
is
you?
Crazy.
Honestly,
it is crazy.
It's sad because I remember for me, even it's good for her. She had the comfortability to talk about it. For me, it's crazy because no one knows about this. Literally, this is something I've opened up after I joined Blackout Fire. That's the crazy part. Not my dad, not my mom. My mom died without knowing this. None of my relatives, because number one, I was living in an environment that was very violent for me. Like I had no room to talk, no space to say anything. So what is being said is what is being said. So even going to utter this almost happened to me. I didn't even know how to go say it. But I'd say, I don't know, because it happened twice. We had also a Shamba boy. Shamba boy also tried to do that. So, you know the Shamba boys, so I was in the kitchen, because on the quarters of the kitchen, then they sleep in the bedroom ya jikoni. So I was just doing my thing in the kitchen, then he comes from behind. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then the good parts, I don't know, but that was the first time I saw Nika kunja, because that was the only way I thought about defending myself. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So like I squeezed his dick and he ran away. And people came to ask me what happened. I'm like, I don't know, you know, because I don't even know what to explain. But I defended myself. With my uncle, I hit him as well. Like I don't know, somehow the defense mechanism was just in me, but I never told anyone because I knew the same thing she's saying. No one would believe me, because even from the small things I talk about, no one listens. I'm just like, okay, that's what's up. But it takes so much strength, shout to have, so for being comfortable to talk about it. It takes so much, because even as I talk about it, I think I can hear myself shaking in my voice. Like it just takes a lot. Like I escape that, because just kuna vitu zingine personally I listen to my body. I'm like, if this is just what happens, imagine someone now forcing themselves in you. Like it's just super crazy. So even coming from a relative, leave alone a stranger, a relative, that's the most heartbreaking part and point. And the fact you have to see them, especially every time you go for family gatherings, because that's me. Every time I go to a family gathering, I have to bump into this guy, and it's very like nothing ever happened. Yeah, like he's gonna he invited up for the wedding. They're supposed to be having some shame, but they're never ashamed. That's the crazy thing, especially if they were covered, like you said, it was covered, so there's no shame about it. Like no one knows about this, so what is it to go up where about, you know? So I feel that that's where the comfortability comes from, and the fact that you also decided to maybe keep quiet about it, so they feel like they can maybe approach you, or they think you forgot. I don't know. It's so crazy. So shout out to also I'd say R.I.P. Sharosh. R.I.P. to the 4th grade child. That is also very, very sad. And then the video I saw of the woman in Garissa, I wish I could find it. Let me see if I can find it. The woman in Garissa was grabbed by a very young man. You're like, who only come to come mamako? You know, it's also crazy because young men have lost thinking. It's like we heard about last time's demonstration, a woman coming from demonstration, then you bump into a gang of people raping you, and they're recording about it. You know, it's gonna break you. Like it breaks you. It's not something easy. Like, and then men are built different. Kuna venye strength ya mdem na mwanaume ziko tofauti, you know, because even from I was looking at that video of Garrison for like, man, I don't know what I'll do to this guy. But you look at teach, you like, we're different creatures. There's the masculinity of a man, and a woman is feminine. Even if you try apply some certain sort of defense, kuna wengine watakuwa overpower. Just like the other lady was talking about survival skills to women. When you go to a man's house for the first time, understand a man can knock you out, tableki, fanye vitu, you know, before unarudi unconscious, vitu zishakufanyikia, you have no idea. So it's crazy, but let me see if I can find this video. It's crazy. I don't know if any of you have had friends talk about, maybe close friends, talk about rape, or how they have escaped that, or being victims.
I've personally had maybe confessions from people, like even friends, but one thing I know is they never get out of it. Most of these women, ukiwauliza, I've had confessions of women, even ladies of the night, who come and say, why were you like that? They say they were from being kids. That is true. And that's why they hate men. Some of them have turned into being lesbians. You ask them, why do you hate men so bad? And they tell you, because I can never be with a man. A man who is supposed to protect you. Mostly somebody is supposed to be a father figure. Your uncle. Imagine your brother. Like, we have all brothers, right? Imagine your brother, that's somebody you trust. With your child. And then you find out your blood is taking advantage of your child innocently. Like, unajua venye you're not even supposed to feel any way ukiona your child with your brother, because that's like their father. I'm like, legendary lalianko yang. They're supposed to be legendary, like, unajua, like, it's supposed to be like a father figure. And then this is somebody you trust, you leave your kid with, and they take advantage of your kid. Unaambia endo tembelea auntie yako, unafaa wache mtoto wako hata kwa brother yako for days, for months, without even feeling some type of way, because they're protected.
It's not even that instinct is not there.
It's not supposed to be there.
You have a very safe feeling about it.
Exactly.
When you leave your child at your brother's place, you feel super safe. You know?
But you can't, because your brother takes advantage. Like, you know, Jamie, I feel like these people who rape kids, they're not psychologically okay.
I agree. They're not fine.
There's something wrong with their minds and brains. Because if you're having an hard-on, there is a big woman. Kuna mturika yako.
What if it's a drunk?
Jobi, hata kama uko drunk, see excuse enough kusema I'm drunk, unaona mtoto. Jobi.
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I don't know how to justify that comment, but
it's still not
looking at that situation of raping a child to death, wanting to mlevi. Yeah, it's not good.
It's
not
not.
It's good.
Psychologically, umsa yuko sawa. Jodi ukilewa aje, by the time unaenda kulala na mtu, Si unaangalia huyu ni mtu anakaa aje, mbona uchukue mtoto ulale na yeye? Hata kama umelewa kichakari
It
aje.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't. I feel like it comes from
You're
a very sick
You're
mentality
mentally sick.
in the head. For you can never justify rape. You can never justify hata kama consensual, hata kama ni mtu mkubwa, hata kama si mtoto. You can never justify, oh I was drunk, you can never justify, oh she was provoking, you can never justify.
She was seducing.
You
No,
are wrong.
You can't say that.
You are wrong.
Yeah.
People are just trying to make up excuses for their. You are wrong. And people who rape, mostly rapists, not even kids. Rapists are just supposed to be hakuna story ingine, because you've destroyed somebody's. People don't get normal lives after kuja walirepiwa. Mentality yao itakuwa fucked up all the way. So how do you even explain it? Oh, you know, it takes only strong ones.
It takes
so
much for you to be in that space where you feel like yourself again.
Imagine.
It takes so much.
So imagine how many young boys, let us not even talk about women, how many young boys were raped when they were kids.
And they can't talk about it.
And they can't talk about it. Even sometimes it becomes a problem even wanting to talk to women. And even marriage. Because how will you tell your wife that the way some of them don't find it comfortable, but they unajua nilirepiwangwa nikiwa mtoto as a man with another man. You are sodomized. It's bad. You can't it's something they don't recover from.
I'm trying to see which country recently passed a very harsh law about rape. I don't know if you saw that.
In Kenya?
No.
Okay.
I think Europe, one of the Europe countries, Europe somewhere, but it's supposed to cut with the key.
For real? Yeah. They're supposed to be crushed. See Arabic nations.
Let me see if I can find that article.
You can try it.
I know, you can't even cheat.
And that's why we need strict laws in Kenya. Let me talk for Kenya. We need very strict laws. You know you can't do this. Because how many of them do we report them here each and every time? But we don't hear any perpetual in form of action of justice being taken. Nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. Yeah. We need very dire, strong laws, very strict laws for a lot of things which people really get away with. Yeah, which is super, super heartbreaking, depressing, and disturbing, honestly. Yeah.
I can't
the other guy who was drunk and dropped a kid from the balcony. Are you kidding me?
I think it's the UK. I'm not sure if it's the UK, but they said the UK, this was reports from May 22nd this year. UK will roll out chemical castration for sex offenders. Chemical castration.
That makes sense.
The British government is to roll out the use of medication to suppress the sex drive of sex offenders as part of a package of measures to reduce the risk of reoffending and alleviate the pressure on the prison system, which is running out of space. And of course, this is nice. I'm not sure if this is the only country. There's a country recently, Ghana. Yeah, they passed the same law, which I do support it. Literally. Like, if that is what you can do, here we went there. But let me share the last video as we literally wind up for you guys to see what was happening. This video has been going viral of this woman, like, it's crazy. You can see it's just a young man, literally, like a dog, or you can see. Alikuwa ataka kumrepia hapo nje. I can see but you almost had her. So you can imagine if no one came to the rescue.
Daylight.
And literally on a daylight. You question yourself, which country are we living in today? The things being focused on are not even that much important than the humanity or human rights being violated, you know. Ruto is much worried about the opposition leaders who are going to talk about him being an half-term president, not talking about sexual offense. People are raping, killing women, How many femicide cases did we report since last year, the beginning till now? And they're still rising. We're talking about a woman rep who has done nothing for the women, and yet has the audacity to come and propose a bill about about what? You have the audacity to come propose a bill about family planning to the women you're not protecting. You sound crazy. But yeah, as we wind up, what are your closing remarks? That's crazy.
It's sad because we are in an environment where we are supposed to be protected by our brothers, our sisters, our fathers, the male gender in the society. And right now there's a lot of issues of femicide. A lot of people have actually been killed after being raped. A lot of young people, these are not the first cases. Unapata mtu aliliwa alafu unapata walimfanya test wakapata she was raped a couple of times, she was hit, and it's just super crazy. And it's saddening because unapata video kama hiyo, probably ni zile njia zenye maybe watu watokeangi sana. Unajua zile za homestates, they maybe people rarely pass here, hata huu nikimpata once nothing is gonna happen. But again, let's also question the society. What are neighbors for? Where did humanity go? Unajua, before mtu hata tuseme maybe it's not rape, maybe mtu anapigwa kila siku. Your neighbors hata tu ile kujibu hata tuulize nini. And then when somebody is dead, unasikia unasema na walikuwa napiganaga, what did you guys do about it? People are like watu tu wako comfortable in their zone. Ainiwashi kitu yenye niumi. That's on you. Unajua.
That's what they say.
It is sad. It's sad. So we are supposed also to question our humanity. Where did that connection go to? The human connection where mtoto wa mtu angekuja kwako na umtreat kama mtoto wako. Siku hizi huwezi pata watoto hata kwa nyumba kina watu. Kuna kaucho wengine hata mimi nakumbuka babaka hata mzazi atakuja sema najua kwa kina nani utapatwa hapo umekaa na watoto wengine mnaona TV. Umeshakula hadi mamako ndiye anakuchuna. Wewe kukula kwa watu siji unajua. But right now you don't see that because me that used to be me. Sisi watu wa store mmecheza imeshafika saa moja. Mzazi wako kana kuja siji 8 9. Huko kwa kina mtu lunch time ulikula hapo. Mzazi ndiye anakuja kuaibika. Unachuna ukipelekwa mama ukienda home unachapwa. Unajua because that used to be if somebody is in discipline umwachie eti ni mtoto nani simshiki. Unaga tunamcorrect. Unajua the child is supposed to be for the society. He's not supposed to be ni wanani. But also things change when parents started getting hard. Unashika mtoto wangu. Unafanya nini. So I think also people lost that so much connection. But right now in this world where people are just living their own lives, you don't even feel like somebody is supposed to be protected. Hata kitu mbaya kifanyika, you don't hear people talking about it. But once it is at the peak, utasikia na nini lifanyika na alikuwa anafanya hivyo. People should always stand there for each other. That is my closing remark.
Right, we need very strict laws, honestly. And for that to happen, we need conscious leaders who can fit their feet into people's shoes, into the citizens' deep state of what they're going through. But the fact that we don't have such leaders, conscious leaders who don't really care about you and me. But for that to happen, we need very conscious leaders who are there for the benefit of the people. They know, they understand their purpose and their agenda in those positions, for them to actually put the strict laws into action, because that's the only way, literally. Sure. But I'm sending you so much love and light this beautiful Wednesday. Remember, you are the change you need to see in the world. Much love.
Period. And of course, my closing remarks is, of course, I love that what you said about consciousness, because our leaders don't have consciousness. I always say they lost it. Like these people, I don't know if it's a matter of being trained, but they lost it. They barely have consciousness. I feel like they are moving like white people right now. White people don't. There's something we are learning some time back on the 8 episodes of understanding where white people come from. They don't even have a sense of second thinking, like intuitions talk to you, tell you this is right. Yeah, exactly. White people have confessed they don't have that, and I feel like our leaders are on that point, because you're taking out innocent blood. So the moment you're killing people on a cold blood, and it's not 1, 2, 3 people where you can feel guilty about it. It's a bunch of numbers that you've not even count, and you're very comfortable about it. Like, zero conscience within you. But yes, with that being said, have yourselves a beautiful day. To the women, take care of yourselves, Manze. Yes, we love your comfortability of talking. You know, we live to 21st century. People are open to speak up. Of course, you have freedom to express yourself. That is number one rule of democracy. You can express yourself in any sort of way, but that sort of expression has really become super too much of comfortability. Unless if it's for educational purposes, sometimes it's good to die with some things to your grave. Like, just die with it. Yes, you burnt in this life, you made a mistake. It was not up to you that you wanted to go seek HIV and AIDS out there, but learn from that and teach other people literally what to learn from that, not you being bitter and spreading it all around. And also to any victim of rape survivor out there, sending love, hugs to you, and peace, literally. See you guys tonight on the Africa Today Show. But before we wind up, shout out to Mr. Blackofer in the building, if you're still there. Shout out to John Mosquito, good afternoon to you too. Good evening on our end. I look like a tomato too. I expected a comment, so I see myself. I really look like this. But I also see, says rape is a serious issue in our community. Almost every black woman I have spoken to has experienced some form of sexual abuse. That is crazy because it's literally most of the women, you know, even if it's not rape,
sometimes
any,
it's verbal.
any sort of sexual assault, it's crazy because it's there and it's mostly every day, especially coming from men who face rejection. It's just super crazy. You know, men who face rejection, who, if you don't answer them when they're greeting you, like they're already mad, talking crazy to you, they want to announce. It's crazy because the other time I had a very crazy assault, like I felt really assaulted up on stage. I almost went to the police station. I was to take an OB and make it a whole case. Then I remembered Katie, Nicole, like, man, this is gonna be a whole thing. I can make it, of course, happen because I have lawyer friends and all that, but at the same time I'm like, it's not really worth it. You're just dealing with idiots who are so uneducated, but it's so provocative. It's really provocative. So if you can be able to handle it, sometimes good for you and good for us. It's not easy for women. But also John Mosquito says 9 out of 10 it's usually a family relative.
I know,
it's crazy.
yes.
He also says that might be Russia. I'll check onto that because I'm not sure which country did pass that harsh law, which actually I support very much. And also says something to do with castration for rapists. Exactly, yes. And that is our literally conversation for the day. I hope you guys did enjoy the Tubonge right here with us every Wednesday. Next week, hope to see you with us with Kamlesh right here on the show. But of course, remember to join me tonight on the Africa Today Show. Tomorrow we also have other shows running, so remember to tune in right here on the media of the 21st century. See you guys later.
Talk